Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another gorgeous morning in northern Vermont. Let's do a little spin here. Like, we're not full tilt, but wow, it's totally happening. Plus, I love the browns, like when some of the weeds, and then Giovanni kind of like has this camo thing because he just like blends right in. Anyway, welcome to another delightful Minecraft discussion today. My name is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and it is my role here, which I absolutely am thrilled to do, which is to help people sort of get a grip on their thoughts, become the boss of their brains, because it all starts with the thinking. No matter what people say, we are what we eat, we are whatever. Nutrition, all very important, not dismissing that. But think about it, if we were to remove so-and-so's brilliant mind with kindness and anesthesia and put it up in a jar and formaldehyde on a shelf, what would so-and-so nice person be feeling or doing? Answer is nothing, because it all starts with the brain, no matter what anyone else says. Okay, so here we go. So so I actually planned to do this one yesterday when I was a +1 at a wedding. Very fun. I have to tell you too, there's a lot of freedom in the +1 community, because you can like just do your thing. Wedding was very nice, very tasteful, very wet, which is why I didn't kick out the video yesterday, because it was like 10-pound drops. But anyway, all right. So now we are here, and today's conversation in this beautiful wooded area is developing a service filter. So before you turn me off and say, oh no, this is going to be religious. No, it isn't. I mean, you can turn it into that if you want to. But no, it actually is not. Because the thing is, when we do good things for people, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I think because we're so busy, especially in the States, like it's busyness, right? And the very thought of adding one more thing, like, now I got to go volunteer. And there's pretty much just like probably immediate resistance, even though there's a whole lot of need out there. I'm not talking about that. We're not talking about adding it all. So try to resist the urge to, do what you want to do. I'm not into controlling anyone. But this is not religious, and it's not a big push for volunteering, although there is a big need out there. So that is also a good idea. This is more about developing a service filter. It's, with whatever it is you're doing. So it's not adding anything. I know that, I'm well aware that stresses people out. I mean, I myself doing easy. I have not even added them up, because I don't think of it as work, but I mean, I basically work 7 days a week and call it done at noon, because spend the time with my husband. Parts of 7 days a week. I don't think of it as work, though. I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm disengaging with people and blah blah blah. So that is actually how this came up, because I'm going to bring up my dean here. I wasn't planning to start with this, but it just came in my head. So we have these annual goals meetings, she calls them, and I've mentioned how very awesome Laurel is. She's our dean. She's just amazing. And so it's like, you try to get your goals together for the next year. So for me, it's not a big surprise, and I'm constantly a work in progress with organizational stuff, getting attendance in each day, that kind of thing. And at the bottom, I said, something about service, becoming a better person, and she kind of looked at me for a second. I said, yeah, becoming a better person each day, and I feel like I should be volunteering. I'm not volunteering to do anything. And the idea of also wiggling that in feels a little stressful too, even though it's so important. And she really she was great about very compassionately and kindly, sort of metaphorically speaking, walking me to a better place with that, because she started rattling off all these things I'm already doing, just all these good things I'm already doing. And I look at her and say, yeah, but I'm paid for those. It's like part of my salary. And then Laurel says, who cares? Does it matter? Good is good. You're doing good things out there for people. Does it really matter if it's in your salary or not? And I thought about that, because she said, I think you have all those boxes checked you're looking for. And I thought, wow, my head wasn't really in that place. And it's amazing how also compassion can wrap around us in whatever the situation, take the air out of the balloon, and then we actually even feel in a more authentic place to give. I mean, it's just so nuts. And so that's where I'm going with this, is that and volunteering is great. I mean, there's a lot of need out there, so we're definitely not saying don't do that. Definitely do that if you can. But if that isn't your life circumstances right now, I don't care if you work at a bank, you're collecting the recycling, if you're if you're home, working outside of the home, if you're doing whatever, no matter what you're doing, you can change the filter. Oh, those are gorgeous. Those are such cool mushrooms. I just have to show you these. Aren't they cool? Wow. Fungus Among Us. It doesn't matter what you're doing, because people generally think of the helping professions, right? You know, counselors and teachers and ministers and obviously the whole medical crew and firefighters and police and military, and I don't want to, can't rattle them off. There's lots of helping professions. And of course, like, people think sometimes you got to be in the Peace Corps to make a huge difference, and you so don't. You can work at a Dunkin' Donuts and be in, and we need everybody, no matter who's doing what, we need everybody. And you can make a gigantic difference in someone's life. And I just thought of an example I had, because I forgot briefly that I actually worked at a Dunkin' Donuts way back when I was in graduate school at Boston College, until I was asked not to return. Nothing I did. I was at my dad's wedding, and one of my wonderful uncles, my wonderful Irish uncles, got a little too tipsy, and I was calling them to say that I was going to be late Monday because of the wedding, and he said I was having too much fun, and anyway, it's a story for another time, but asked not to return. But anyway, while I was there, there was one day when it was popping busy, like a slamming Monday morning, people like out the door, and a man walked in. I was really young then. I was like, I don't even know, because I went straight out of St. Mike's, 23, let's say. And the only reason I had an awareness of this is because my favorite professor, Dr. Hartnett, had this. So picture packed people out the door in a hurry, Boston, okay, got the vibe, and lots of teenagers working behind there. And in came a man who was, making these grimacing faces and spitting a little because he couldn't help it, and just really kind of seemingly very frantic. And he had a couple of unkind things said. They were mumbled. They weren't really said right to him. We could hear them. Everybody in there could hear them. Just unkind stuff. And I don't want to say in fairness, because it's not okay to say unkind things ever. It was just a hustle bustle, and I don't think the teenagers really were aware. And again, the only reason I was is because I had one of my favorite professors, Dr. Hartnett, had cerebral palsy, and I sat in the front because of my ADHD, and so I was a little more aware maybe of the grimacing, and sometimes they can spit because they can't help it, right? They're trying so hard to control their facial expressions and muscle movements and everything else. So this man who was there leaning over the counter trying to be helped because he was next was just getting really increasingly more frustrated, even though he had no intentions, I'm sure, of doing anything to anybody. His body stuff and face could look threatening if he didn't understand what was going on. And so right away I kind of just ignored everybody else in line and said, what is it? What can I do for you? And then somebody came over and said something blatantly not okay. And I kind of blatantly told her to knock it off. It's just cerebral palsy and not to worry about it. And I kind of rolled out of me because I probably shouldn't have said that either. It was kind. It was kind. Like, it's like, relax. It's just a brain thing. I said something like that. I don't remember. It was 20. I'm 56. Do the math. Long time ago. And he looked at me. And I'm just standing there. I gave him his donuts and his coffee. He leaned over the counter and said, "Thank you." And then he said it again. He said, "Thank you." And he took his coffee and his donut and left. And that isn't like, the idea is not to make me look like I'm walking on water or something, which I'm certainly not, because if I tried to walk across Lake Champlain, I would sink pretty fast, I'm absolutely sure. The point is that I had experience with it, so I knew what it looked like. If you did not have that experience, you wouldn't know what it looked like. But the point is that I was in my little pink dress at Dunkin' Donuts making minimum wage, which back then was like $4 or something, I don't even know. And you can make a difference, doing whatever you're doing, okay? I have another example that was done for us way back when we were not just married, because we have 4 kids under 5, but we worked pretty fast, so we weren't married for very long. And my husband Tommy was in training, so picture this, 4 kids under 5, or 5 and under, 4 kids 5 and under. Ryan was in kindergarten. And my husband was 6 hours away from us. We were in New Hampshire. He was in New York. We were, physically, removed from each other for I don't like the word separated, bad vibes, because that would never happen. So we were distanced for about 10 months in a tough stage, 4 kids, 5 and under. And so we were living out of boxes. We were in this little cabin, which my outlaws were wonderful enough to let us stay in their little cabin in New Hampshire. And living out of boxes and with the kids and everything, all we wanted in the whole world to do was to be settled, to be all of us together again, and to not be living out of boxes, which is incredibly frustrating, as you may guess, especially with 4 little kids. Trying to find your stuff. If you can't find it, you have to rebuy it, and that's frustrating, especially on a limited income. At that time, just one income, and all we wanted in the whole world was just to get settled in Vermont. And we had saved a little bit of money, and trying to get into your first house, it's tough to ever have enough money. We had saved a little bit, as much as we could on the one income, and we had of course, so this is way back when, had some credit speed bumps or credit blemishes, and I did not have an income home with 4 out of the 5 kids. And the little one, we literally moved into that cabin 6 weeks after she was born. So, yeah, just painting the picture. And so we started to try, and at that particular time, it's hard to get mortgages. It goes in cycles where it's easy and interest and whatever. This was a hard time. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we have to get settled. We're going to northern Vermont. We had a window to move there, and it wasn't looking good because I didn't have anything on paper as income at that time. And we had some credit blemishes, and it wasn't looking good. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'll call my friend Doug, who's a mortgage lender. And you couldn't think a person at a bank could actually be life-changing. My friend Doug literally changed our lives, and he's a bank guy, okay? And he's like, hey, Kim. And I said, Doug, and I told him the whole story, and he's like, okay, you got this, this, and that. Let's try to pay this little one off, that little one off. You still got some stuff here. Let me see what I can do. And he spent like 3 days. He must have dropped everything else he was doing. And he said, he said, this needs some help. He said, but I've got connections. He pulled out every connection he had at this particular mortgage company, which is a big mortgage company. I'm not going to say because I shouldn't, but it's a big mortgage company. And he basically got us the mortgage for our first small house. And I don't know if I've ever cried so hard in my life. I probably have, but this was another chance because the built-up tension of being, by myself with the 4 kids, even though the cabin was wonderful and our in-laws were great, it was just so too much, for 10 months and missing Tommy and everything. And so you think of, just a bank, somebody who just works at a bank. No. And then he was our mojo. He was like this catalyst, because after we got into our first little house, we were off to the races. We were settled again. I was able to do stuff. I was mostly home with them, but I dabbled. It was just, we were off to the races. We needed help from somebody. And he made a gigantic, which I told him, he actually came up to visit us in the house after that house, all the way from Pennsylvania with his family. He was my friend from high school, quarterback actually. And I hadn't even talked to him in a while, and he just like zipped right in to do the rescue, and wow, what a difference that man made in our lives. I mean, if you just look at the whole picture with the little kids and missing and not being together and the whole night routine. One of them had to have oral surgery during all that, and I knew no one. So this wonderful lady across the street had to help and that sort of thing. So picture the mortgage thing working out, solving so much. Just like, I can't even say what a gigantic difference Doug made for our family at that time. So the idea of this video is to explain that you don't have to go volunteer at a food shelf, which is a great thing. I'm not saying, definitely if you can do that, go do that. But the point is to just change how you look at what you're doing, which is true for life. We've been talking about the whole mindset thing, right? Mindset is everything. So I don't care if you deliver mail. You can stop and take 60 seconds and look somebody in the eye and, how's your day going? Holding a door open for somebody, being again at a bank or in retail. Somewhere, I think of the Hannaford's crew at our grocery store here in town. They're amazing. They get all dressed up for St. Patrick's Day and they put a smile on people's face. So it's really what it comes down for me in my calling. I don't like to say job or work because neither one of those would be true. Because I do feel like I was put on this earth to teach and to also spread positivity through my well-being role. And it really is about your own filter. How can I be of service today? It doesn't have to be religious. If you want to make it that, be that. And also it helps us to get out of our own heads, because self-awareness is a good thing, right? We want to be self-aware. We want to know ourselves right down to our shoe size. It's a great thing. And at the same time, we can also get too caught up in our own heads. And when we do that, it's a lonely place. And Gandhi was huge on this, as I mentioned before. When you're feeling blue, very paraphrased, get out of yourself. Go do something for somebody. So the whole point is, with ours being so busy and flying around like gerbils on crack in the States, and I love the States, not saying that, we can actually, if volunteering is too much, we can let go of the guilt of not doing that. Like when we see the holidays and somebody's collecting money outside for the Salvation Army or whatever, we can think, okay, wait, I don't need to feel overwhelming guilt, because I'm doing the very best I can with my own circumstances, with whatever I'm doing for a job or whatever like that. And I can change my own filter to benefit other people. Every day we can be kind in one itty bitty way. I'm thinking about Dunkin' Donuts, or a barista, or Starbucks. My kids like Starbucks too. If there's, somebody's a barista, and here's a little extra French vanilla creamer, or, oh look, who noticed that this beautiful looking chocolate croissant is broken? I can't sell it. Would you like it? I mean, it just doesn't take much to really turn somebody's entire day around, and you just never know. So that's it. Change our filter to a service mindset. How can I be of service? It'll be the gift that keeps on giving, because whatever we do for other people, we do for ourselves, and vice versa. Excellent. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from beautiful, gorgeous fall in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.